All right, in this video, we're going to talk about polynomial vocabulary or terminology. This is going to be important as we move forward in this because when we start to graph or talk about certain features of the polynomial function, it's going to be very important that we reference very specific parts of that polynomial function. So that's what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different parts of that polynomial. So the first one we're going to look at is we're going to look at the degree. All right, and the degree is going to be determined by the largest exponent that we have inside of our polynomial function. Now, if we'll notice here, we have a 3, a 2, a 1, and a 4, and then here we have no exponent because we have no variable. We'll talk about what that means here in a second. Also, one more thing to note, you do not have to have the 1 with the minus 2x. It's just kind of assumed and understood. However, if you write it, it's not wrong. It's just not necessary. I call those the invisible ones, ones that don't have to be written, but certainly can be. So if I go look at all of my exponents again, the highest one, the largest one I have would be the 4. So that would make this a 4th degree polynomial. Okay, that makes it a 4th degree. And again, we're looking at the highest exponent that we have, and that is at 4 right there. All right. Now, when we look at the next one's the number of terms, in each individual set or group of numbers and variables and exponents, those are going to be called our individual terms. So we have 4x to the third, 5x squared, minus 2x to the first, minus 7x to the fourth, and 11. Each one of those are all separate terms. So if you'll notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate terms. So this has number of terms is 5 terms total in our polynomial. Okay. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is what it means to be the constant. So a constant is going to be the term that does not have a variable, and that is going to be, in this case, the 11. So the constant in this particular polynomial is 11. All right. Now then, the next two can be a little deceiving if you don't know what the definition is, and that's leading term and leading coefficient. So let's determine what it means to be leading. So if we remember, we had a degree of 4. Okay, we have a 4th degree polynomial. So that's the term I'm going to look at. I have minus 7x to the 4th. That is going to determine what my leading term is. In fact, if we want to rewrite this in what we call standard form, okay, it's going to be important to know what form you're in as we move forward. But that is when I'm going to take all of my terms and rewrite them in descending order of my exponents. So all I did really in this particular case was I had to rearrange and put the negative 7x to the 4th out in front and just bump everything over. And if you'll notice, I have 4, 3, 2, and then again we've got my invisible 1 exponent here, and then the 11, which is my constant, which has no variable. And so now in this case, when I put it in standard form, now my leading term is going to be the minus 7x to the 4th. Now then, the leading coefficient is going to be the number that goes with my leading term. So a coefficient in any term is going to be the number that's out in front of my variable. So in the coefficients in this particular polynomial are negative 7, 4, 5, negative 2, and 11. And in particular, I have the leading coefficient is going to be the negative 7. All right, so that's kind of a quick one right there. Just wanted to show it to you so you can get an idea of what we're looking for here. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase what we have here. I'm going to show you or give you another example. And what I recommend is pausing the video for a second and seeing if you can determine what all 5 of those particular vocabulary words are in relationship to this function here. And when you're done, unpause the video and just double check and see if you got those right. All right, so in this case, we're looking for degree. So I'm going to look at all of my exponents, which I have a 2 and a 3, and the degree is the highest one we have, so this one would be a 3rd degree. The number of terms are going to be each individual little group of numbers and variables and exponents. So I have 1, 2, 3. So this is 3 terms. The constant, again, is the number without the variable. So here our first two terms have variables. Our last term of negative 14 does not have a variable. So that would be my constant. All right. Again, standard form is when I rearrange my polynomial so that the exponents are in descending order. So in this case, standard form would look like this: f of x equals 5x to the third plus 7x squared minus 14. So now you can see I have descending exponents, 3, 2. So now in this case, once I have rearranged in standard form, my leading term is going to be 5x to the third, and then the coefficient, or the number in front of that variable, is going to be 5. All right, hope that helped. Again, this is just kind of briefly talking about polynomial vocabulary and terminology, and then from here we can use this to reference certain parts as we begin to graph or talk about features or attributes of these polynomial functions.